guys, what's good? It's your girl Chris Corio here. I am on my way to the Jamaica Federation Powerlifting, or Jamaica Powerlifting Federation of Jamaica's. Yes, that's it, girl. So I'm on my way to their conference. They're doing a workshop where they're teaching people 3 different lifts. So there's a deadlift, a squat, and something else. But I'm just here waiting on my cab right now. I'm going to be showing you different lifts throughout the day and everything that we got into, and of course I'm going to be posting this to my YouTube page, so stay tuned. And I'm also going to be doing some demonstrations. Y'all know, no, I'm not an athlete, but I'm gonna know for myself. So alright, so soon in a bit. Alright guys, so I'm outside of Fit Farm Fitness Club, and this is where we're going to be doing the powerlifting demonstrations. As I said earlier, they're having their workshop slash conference slash demonstration of all of these different lifts that we need to be knowing. I'm not an athlete. I'm a member of the committee's medical committee, or the federation's medical committee, as a physiotherapist, and so we're gonna go in and see what they're up to. All right. Hi. Hi. She's just in herself, so she's not even to Sami. She's not even to No, you're right. You're right to ask that question. Hey, come on. No vlog. What going on? Mr. Tough Raps.
Yeah, man.
What is this about? Big up, come out.
Yeah.
What is this about today?
I don't know what it's about, man. It's all about powerlifting, man.
You're going to be lifting today? Maybe? Your name is on the flyer, you know? No, but I let me down. Yeah. Alright guys, so we're at Fit Farm Fitness Club, and I'm here with Mark. He is the host of this event. Mark, tell us what we're going to be getting into today.
Well, today I just went to... That's rude. That's just rude.
What did he say?
That's just rude.
What did he say?
Work from a smile.
You have a nice smile.
Oh, thank you.
We can't compliment you.
I never know how to say that.
Yeah, say a nice smile.
You're just negative.
That's very good.
Anyways, so today we're going to be teaching some beautiful people how to do the squat, bench, and deadlift more effectively and more safer.
Okay, cool.
Understand?
So the aim of this is what? For more persons to compete, or just for like the awareness of powerlifting? Or
Both.
For both of it?
Both. We want more people to compete and we want them to do it safely.
Okay, cool. How long has the federation been? Because it's like a new thing now, right?
It is, yeah.
How long have you guys been active now?
The federation has been active for how long now? About half a year?
About half a
7
year?
months?
10
10 months.
months.
We've been active for 10 months now. And we're supposed to be having our first competition come November.
Oh, November so
27th.
soon. Cool.
November 27th we'll be competing.
Where that going to be? Here?
That's going to be by UTEC.
By UTEC?
UTEC Auditorium.
Is this a thing we're in a plan to carry this overseas to have like a
100%.
Jamaican team as well?
100%. That's why we started the federation. So that the local athletes can go overseas and represent. If we don't have a internationally sanctioned association, we can only compete amongst ourselves.
Oh, I get you. So no,
that's why we got
with the federation you can go overseas.
Exactly.
And these are 2 other athletes.
Right, so that's Scott Jennings,
Big up
biggest
Scott.
deadlifter in Jamaica.
Big up Scott.
And that's Sami,
Big up
biggest
Sami.
deadlifter in Jamaica.
Big up. What is you guys max now?
Hard to say.
No, that's
Hard to put a...
last tested.
Last test is going to 750 pounds deadlift
750
750 pounds?
at 180 pounds.
180.
Less than
Okay.
83 kilograms.
What?
Mine was 455 beltless at 155.
Right. So yeah.
You're an athlete too, sir? You're an athlete
He's
too?
here. He's here for the vibes.
Here for the vibes.
Cool. Alright guys, so about to get this thing started, yeah?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is Orville Byfield. I'm the technical director for the NPAJ, and we have Mr. Jeremy Owens, who is the chairperson for our competition. We have Mr. Miller, who is here. He's in charge of training and development. I'm not seeing Mr. Green as yet, but he's the person that would be in charge of the coaches. All right, and we have other members from the NPAG, of the GenSec, and everybody. We welcome you all to our first workshop of many more to come, and we hope that this workshop will be one that is fruitful, so that all of you young aspiring athletes and coaches will be here and would learn, and we can do an exchange of knowledge. All right, so I thank you all to be here, and all the best.
Afternoon, everybody, again.
Afternoon.
Afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, everybody.
Afternoon, what's going on?
There. My name is Mark Miller. I'll be your host for today for the workshop. Everybody is interested in powerlifting, or you come to the wrong place? I don't really know. Everybody is interested in powerlifting?
Yeah.
Raise your hand if you're interested in competing. You're going to be competing in November. Raise your hand. You're not compete?
Yeah, compete, man.
So you're not going to compete? Alright, so everybody else, why are you here? Raise your hand, what made you come here? If you're not competing in powerlifting.
We have to be competing.
No, you don't have to, but I'm trying to help you out as best as I can.
Oh.
So if you're not competing, you're looking to just be stronger, you're looking to understand how to squat.
To understand,
better.
yeah,
Talk to
understand
me.
the technique
For what movement?
for all of them.
For all squat,
For the
bench, and
squat,
deadlift?
deadlift, bench press,
No
yeah.
problem. Whether you are bodybuilding or physique or strength, introduce yourself.
I am
Start with this.
Greetings, name is Quan. Trainer. Well, to bodybuilding myself.
My name is Danielle. I am a bodybuilder / becoming a powerlifter.
Alright, please.
I am Christina, aka Chris, former bodybuilding champion, physiotherapist, medical committee member of the Powerlifting Association.
Good, bud.
I am Jonathan. I don't do any type of work, bodylifting any type. I just want to learn because I want to get started.
I love that.
Thank you. Afternoon, my name is Carson. I just started my bodybuilding journey, doing power building, so just coming here to learn and maybe compete.
So powerlifting is a competition. Some people call it a competitive sport, where athletes of different sizes, different statures, different genders are looking to execute a 1 rep max of 3 different lifts, namely the squat, the bench, and the deadlift, in that order, right? So what these athletes are trying to do, they're trying to hone and improve upon the skill of expressing as much power as possible for 1 rep of 1 lift, but doing that with 3 attempts or 3 times. Does that make sense? So today we're going to be starting off with the squat, because I want to mimic the progression of an actual competition, which goes SBD, squat, bench, deadlift, right? So the reason why I pick people out of the crowd, because I want to show you how different people look when they squat, right? Some people try to get into the head, or they tend to get into the head about how the squat looks, because it doesn't look like somebody on Instagram, or don't look like the really strong guy in the gym. Everybody have a different squat depending upon the length here, and the length here, and also the flexibility at each area. Where you have athletes is that a lot of times how the hip is shaped. Some people hip shape like a bowl. Some people hip shape more like a plate. That allows for more play in the thigh bone area, which gives you dramatically different squats. Making sense of her? If I'm not making sense, just tell me, right? So you come front and center. Show them the best squat, body weight squat. That's really good. Do it sideways. Alright. So just looking at this straight away, we always say that looking 100%. Please stop. It's a workshop.
Alright, could you squat again?
Huh? What is not looking right? We have too much trainers here for this place to be described. That don't make any sense. Too much trainers. What's not looking right?
Head position.
Head position. What's wrong with the head position?
Looking down.
Looking down. Why is that a problem? Why is that an issue? Creates misalignment in the spine, right? Do that one more time with that chin that is more upright. Do it one more time with the chin down. Come on. Do it with the chin down now. So what I want you guys looking at, that simple change. Look at the change in muscle tone in the upper back. Okay? Come up again. Chin down and do it. You see any line? No line here, no muscle tone, no muscle definition, right? Come up again. Chin up. Do it. See that? See that minute difference? Head positioning can change what's happening in the spine. You get me? So there's no small things that we're going to look at today. Somebody else squat. We're just going to look at three. Demonstrate our squat.
Which way? This way?
Sideway.
Warm up.
Alright, so another perfect squat. Right? Why is it perfect? Let's talk about that. The full foot is on the ground. Why else is it perfect? Head position. Right. Right. So we're seeing good back tone. The upper back is engaged. We can see that the glutes are active. The ankles moving forward nicely. The knee is stacked. Everything is stacked perfectly. You get me? Done. Last one. You can sit down. Now do with your arms out. Yeah. Alright, so you see. So we're gonna look at good squat mechanics first, and then we're gonna look at barbell back squat mechanics. Because the act of balancing a barbell that way 2 times the body weight on your back and squatting down is not the same skill as body weight squatting. But you need a good body weight squat in order to be a good back barbell squatter. There's no way to go around it. Right? So a good body weight squat, we're looking for what? We're looking for in the head. Neutral, right? Up high, chin tucked, head back, right? What we're looking for in the midline, in the torso. We want it to be rounded, we want it to be upright. What we're looking for in the midline? Upright. What we're looking to happen at the hip joint. For powerlifting, powerlifters, where should the hip be for depth? Where? Below the knee joint, right? So his hip joint is right here. Knee joint right here. So is this at depth? Yes, it is. Right? And then what we're looking to happen at the ankles. The one that moving freely, or we want restricted tight ankles. All right.
Is that good depth? No. It's not the best. Right? Let's just try again. Right? So what's not ideal about the squat? Based on the perfect examples that we saw earlier.
Hips above the knee.
What's happening with the back? It's not in line, right? The ankles, we see that the ankles moving forward as much as the perfect examples of a squat. It's a bit limited, right? And then the hip, if we look at the hip joint in relation to the knee joint, we can see that the hip is a little bit higher than the knee, right? So, can stand up. So with an instance like that now, that might be a case of limited mobility and flexibility up in the chain, but beyond that, there are small changes that we can make in stance to create more depth and create more power, right? So what we're going to do is kind of help you to find the most ideal stance for stability and power, and then from there, we'll see if we can get a better body weight squat, and then we'll learn the barbell back squat, right? Line it back. So what I'm going to do now, bend this knee. Like what Chris rightfully said, this is hip flexion, right? This is what is happening when we're at the bottom of a squat, right? So when everybody squats down, that's the shape that the leg assumes. It's just that she's on her back, right? So her short's not tight, because you get me. So turn your knee out. Turn your knee out a little bit.
Maintain this rotate. Alright.
So what I'm going to do, I'm trying to get as much hip flexion as possible. As you can see right there, the knee is barely passing 90 right here, so there's not that much, right? But if you turn it out to the side a little bit, we can already see that there's a little bit more hip flexion, right? So how could this translate to an actual squat? What could she do different?
Turn out her.
Turn the toes out, and probably even widen the stance too, if that's a little bit uncomfortable, because you have tight ankles. Go ahead and try that. They were out, so a wider stance would have probably make more sense. Let's be a little bit more conservative. Toes out. Alright, do it now. So already we can see that she has improved depth, right?
Yeah.
But this fix doesn't change what's happening in the ankle, and it also doesn't change what is happening in the upper back, right? And that's where strength training, it can come out. Thanks. Give her a round of applause. That's where strength training, posture training, and mobility training comes together to make the ideal power lifter. You get me?
Right.
Because what we just saw there is that even though her hip issue, the hip being able to rotate outwards, was somewhat solved, the ankles were still preventing her from going into a deep squat. Let me refresh your memory. Somebody with really good ankle dorsiflexion. Come this side. Hip flexion can have to, right? So because her ankles are very mobile and her hips are also primed for squatting, she can do a toe forward squat and she can do her stance really, really close. Somebody might look at her in the gym and be like, all right, her toes forward, her stance narrow, I need to do that too. Not necessarily. Let me show you why. Come on the table. Flex the hip. See that?
Got it, got it.
You understand?
Yeah.
And this is not something that you can really change that much. You can only strengthen the ability to hold the position or get into the position a little bit more freely. But what she has is a hip socket that is a little bit smoother, which allows for more ease of flexion and extension, as opposed to somebody who might have deeper hips. The hip move, stuck, buck, can't really move anymore. You get me? But that's the advantage of having the right anatomy for a squat, right? Thank you. Why does man look down on the ground? The ground is there. Come up again. The ground will not move. It will not move. So this is the ideal squat. Why? Head. Start over the shoulders. Shoulders. Start over the hip. Knee. Boom. And you can even just draw a line right here. Everything is parallel. You see the line right in your head? You get me? Perfect.
So effective.
Show them a squat. And I want to show you that these people, because I have an idea of how Alex looking at squat too. Is how deep as is? Is he a better squatter? No, not really. Just better hip anatomy for deeper squats. But we don't get points for deep squats, we get points for legal squats. So anything come up a little bit? Legal, come up a little bit?
Illegal.
If the judge don't like you,
You won.
if the judge don't like you, then we give that. But this,
Not even that negative.
this is a very good squat. Alex can stay in this position all day. And that's the difference too. No, watch him. Alex can stay in a position all day. Promise you. Just stay right there without the shoes. Alright, no. I like that. Come up again. Go back there. Come up again. Go back there. One more time. So that's 5 attempts. Tell me what to say. Tell me what to say. Her feet are narrow, okay. Her arches are collapsing. I like that. What else is it?
More seat against.
Come to the center.
Show us again.
Remember the checkpoints that you're thinking about in a squat. You're thinking head, torso, lower back, hips, knees, ankles, slight tucking of the pelvis, right? So what's happening is that more than likely the hips not rotating enough to allow for the back to stay upright. You understand? But let's show, however,
it is important to note if this is her position. However, it is important to note that if this is her position where she's able to extend the most power and is the most comfortable for her, It doesn't necessarily need to be perfect because my squat does not look like this. However, if I can extend more power, who is the winner? If we weigh the exact same thing and I go up against her, but her squat looks more textbook,
No points.
you get no points for perfection, right?
But it needs to be textbook so you can prevent injuries, so you can continue to compete.
Physio.
What we just saw was a healthy discourse. That was a healthy discourse. As people, if you don't agree with anything that I'm saying, let's make the field bigger.
I think textbook looks different for everybody.
Textbook looks different for everybody, but as Simona was saying, there are certain things that need to happen in a squat consistently if you're loading the body over and over to prevent overuse injuries, prevent tears, and even just recover better because force is experienced better throughout the body. Talk to me.
One size does not fit all with a squat. For example, if you look at us together, come and stand beside me, Simona. We do not have the same leverages. I am not the same height as her. My body does not look the same as hers, right? So our squats are going to look different and that's completely fine. However, I need to know what my best squat looks like to prevent injury. She needs to know what her best squat looks like to prevent injury. And we also have to work on that mobility so that we are not injured in the future. For example, if my ankles are not as mobile as they need to be, I need to continue to get my ankles more mobile so that my squat can get deeper and deeper and better, right?
Healthy discourse.
That's where the shoes come from.
Alright, so we're going to talk about the shoes. We're going to talk about the shoes, right? Simon, I'm going to put body and ask if you take off the shoes. I'm so sorry. Take it out one more time. Take it out one more time. I want somebody to... I have my shoe too. So...
Go ahead.
Oh God.
Let's get in there.
I have my shoe too. So you can pass this... Can pass this around?
Alright. It's recently what?
There's a lot of history in that shoe. A lot of experience.
So take off the shoe or no?
Take off the shoes again, please. Real fast. I want somebody to take a picture of before and after. You get me? Content. Alright, cool. Alright, so this is an ode to what Sami was saying, right? Go ahead and squat for me. Alright, so even though we have that pelvic tuck, blah blah blah, who cares, right? It's not the end of the world. This is probably Simona's most powerful stance and positioning. This is where she finds that even though she has the pelvic tilt and the pelvic tuck, this is where she's able to manage the most weight with, right? What is limiting her ability to maintain a neutral spine, because this is still somewhat neutral, but what is not allowing her to get a more neutral spine, get your chest up, is the ability for her ankles to travel forward, right? Now some smart people in, I think, Germany, Joe, let us make up my country. Some smart people now created the squat shoe, a very ugly functional shoe with a heel that is usually 0.5 inches.
Half inch.
Half inch. It's about half inches, and how it's built on a slant. Have you ever seen people squat on a board or a weight plate? All that allows for is more perceived ankle mobility flexion, right? But this is not a band-aid to put on your ankles and just forget about your ankles, because it is going to cause knee pain over time if your ankles don't become more flexible. And a squat shoe, most people get the squat shoe, forget what ankle dorsiflexion, that's where they get knee pain, that's where they get hip injuries, right? Put on your squat shoes now, please. So if you remember what we were saying before is, she wasn't that comfortable in the squat compared to like Alex. Alex could have seen her in the squat for half hour. Her pelvis was tucking under a little bit, but she wants distance because distance creates the most power. What can she do? Elevate the heel, increase ankle dorsiflexion, and get into a more powerful and stable squat that won't injure as much as what we saw before, right? Yeah. Thank you so much. Somebody else also pointed out the fact that her ankles were collapsing inwards, right? Ankles collapsing inwards is what? For the nerds. Talk to me. Pronation, supination, what is it?
Pronation.
Pronation. Ankle starting inwards is pronation at the ankles. Inversion, if you want to feel cute, yeah.
Same difference.
Pronation and inversion is the same thing, right? So it's not, but that's not inversion. Inversion is more purposeful. Pronation is where you have.
It's the same thing, man.
Right. Or more forefoot. Right, so she's also a little bit flat-footed, right? I wouldn't say so either, but she definitely have pronation at the ankles when she squats, which happens. She don't have a pronounced arch, right? She does? Right, so this is the arch of the foot, right? So all it is that we're saying is that her ankles tend to do that a little bit, which can affect everything up the shin. The knee can come in a little bit, the hips get tight, it creates problems, right?
Yeah.
Another advantage of the squat shoe is the amount of ankle support that it has. This ugly shoe is so heavy and so dense that when you put your foot in this, it just won't move. It's like a moon boot.
That orange strap there.
Also straps over the ankle. So what you're doing, you're literally creating like a coffin for your foot.
That's
You
right.
know what I'm saying? And
it should fit like a glove.
we get back to that. So bring it down to the same squat for me, please. You see that? You see that? What are we seeing that's different?
Ankle
The
mobility
back is
looks
straighter,
better.
we're seeing a lot more muscle tone in the upper back. Let's look at the ankles for the people that was looking at the ankles before. What's happening with the ankles?
Better range.
They shift, they move. You get me? So that's an advantage of the squat shoe, right? So we learn so far, we learn that different people squat different. Thank you, Simona. We learn that different people squat differently. There is not necessarily one shape or one aesthetic of a perfect squat. What we're looking for is a balanced head, stacked over the shoulders, looking for an upright back, active glutes, and a hip crease underneath the knee. That's what we're looking for in a squat. And that's what we're looking for in a powerlifting squat as well. The only difference is that the barbell is on the back. So extremely strong. She's been training how long?
3 years.
3 years of organized, intensive training. Competing how long?
2.
Best squat?
405.
405? Wow. Best squat 405 pounds. How much by the way?
162.
162 people. Best deadlift?
500.
Best bench?
220.
Give a round of applause. That is serious business. Serious business. Serious business. Walk up to the bar. Go ahead. So right here now, don't do anything else. Right here now, you can see what she's trying to do. She's rooting her feet into the ground and trying to create as much upright force up into this bar, right? When we're lifting, we want all the force that our body can create to be into the bar. Force anywhere else is useless, right? So right here now, she's focusing on creating a tight shelf in her upper back. She's thinking about squeezing her shoulder blades together. The spine is neutral because typically how you start is how you finish in a lift. You can't start here and finish like this in a squat. That is impossible. So if it is that you want a neutral spine in your squat, it simply means that you have to start with a neutral spine, right? Show me how them can be wrong. So how you can do it wrong now, what are we not seeing right here? I'm not going to anybody. I don't feel some joke with it. I'm joking with nobody. What we're not seeing happening there?
No tension.
No tension where? Talk up.
In the shoulders.
No tension in the shoulders? Why is that a problem? You want the tension. Why you want the tension? Use dumber words.
You want to balance out the weight on your back by keeping the tension in your lower back. Like a counter pressure.
Nice. So what she's saying in a bachelor's degree way is you want to create enough tightness so the bar don't move. Right? If you get that bar a lot of play, the bar is going to play. And you don't want the bar to play on your back, on your spine. So the more that we lock it in, right? When I'm setting up for a squat, I like to imagine that there's a line in the middle of my back, and there is a line in the middle of the back called the spine, right? I'm thinking about squeezing all the muscle. I'm thinking about even squeezing my eyebrows together to get as much tension as possible in the middle part of my torso. So I'm thinking about squeezing my elbows together, squeezing my shoulders together, squeezing my glutes together. Everything is coming together in that center line. The only thing that isn't coming together are my ankles, because I want to create that torque. You understand? Set up again. So set up, and I want you to walk it out. And I'm going to show you how different people set up and how different people walk out. Alright? So I want you to do that 5 times. Sami is going to walk that weight out 5 times. And you're going to see every single time look identical. Because everything in the setup have to be ritualized. Same wiggle, everything. One again. Same setup every time. Look at our facial expression. This is no joke thing. The bar is empty. The mentality is the same. Always. We're always preparing like we're lifting our max. Always. Don't take this thing for granted. You're putting weight on your spine. The mind has to be ready. One last time. So shall I say like it's a world record? Empty bar. Mentality. Boom. Walk it back. Bam, bam, wiggle, wiggle. Thank you. So that's what you call a high bar position, right? High bar position, as the name suggests, the bar is just a little. The bar is just high or regular high that most people introduced. The bar is usually stacked up above the trap. A mid bar now would be about below the top of the trap. The trap is this nice piece of muscle right here. Nice. Woo! So the mid trap would be about in the middle right here. Low bar is usually by the rear delts, right? So Scott is going to show us a low bar squat. I know I'm going to use this opportunity to talk to you a little. Let me set that over. I'm going to use this opportunity right now to talk to you a little bit about the proceedings of an actual competition, right? So in the competition, you walk up to the bar. No, not yet, not yet. In the competition, you walk up to the bar. I believe that somebody can correct me, but I believe that you have a minute to execute the lift as soon as you step onto that platform. But I think as you come out of the curtain, matter of fact, as your name call, you have a minute to do something, anything, right? So Scott Jennings, bar is loaded. So Scott can take a minute to start the lift. You don't have to jump right into it. You get me? If you remember Sami's setup was a little bit slower. Scott just jump right into it. That's fine, right? Alright, put it back down. So taking a break from IPF standard real quick. No man, go on and hit the squat, please. Sorry, go into the squat again. Just stay in the squat. So Sami's bar was up here, up on the traps, right? Scott's bar is up more by the back of the shoulder, by the rear delts. But what are we still seeing? We're still seeing maximal drive happening in the legs. If you touch him leg right now, feel like a brick wall. You're not just underneath the bar. Drive. You get me? Glute squeeze, ankles rotated outwards. Everything is squeezed towards the midline. And we're seeing a neutral back. Even though the weight is on him hip, the back is still neutral. Come up. Nice. Squat actually improved. Very good. Alright. Everybody give him a round of applause. What's the biggest squat?
585.
585 pounds. 585 pounds. And how much by the way?
180.
180 pounds. Give him a round of applause. Not light work. Very difficult. Very hard work. No offense to him, but this is a less experienced lifter. A lifter that doesn't spend as much time thinking about squatting as much weight as possible. I want you to look at the difference in setup. Stay right there. What are we seeing happening right off the bat? Give me that in a dumb way. Top bottom. What is it that we want? Neutral spine. What else do we see happening? Elbows are relaxed. What needs to happen? Everything needs to tighten up and go where? Towards the midline. Right? What are we seeing with the feet? If somebody asks you to jump, would you jump like that? Or would you jump like that? You jump with the toes forward. The same way you want to kind of pop up with the toes forward. That's where you create the most force, right? Toes forward a little bit more. Say again? It's also a little bit low, so you know that rock height make a difference, right? Ready? So let's do some of those tips that you got. Elbows under, neutral spine, and as we can see, when them get them actual rack height, we should be a part of your ritual. You should have an idea of where your rack height should be, regardless of the machine. You can see that everything is a lot more neutral. Put the toes a lot more forward for me. Pop up now. Nice. Do that one more time. You have a minute. So even things like hand position have a large role to play in how your squat feel. If your hands are wider out, that means you should be a wider person. If you're narrow and you have a small back, your arms more than likely should be in a little bit more to get that tightness. Squat down. Now tell me, did this setup look the exact same like what Sami and Scott did? Or did the second time look a little bit more different? The second time looked a little bit more different? That's the difference that experience makes. You know what works for you, you know what will give you repeated results. That's the difference that experience makes. The squat stance that you have right now that you believe in, the setup that you have right now that you believe in, might not be the best, most powerful thing for you long term. Even if it doesn't feel as powerful right now, with practice it will become more powerful. You get me? But you have to think about this as an experiment. You've been lifting how long?
I've been doing some things for a while and then started lifting about 2 years.
2 years ago of non-stop discipline lifting, yeah? And your squat, you're a really good squat. What's your best squat again?
305.
305 pounds, people. This is not easy work. Give her a round of applause. This is not easy work. What's your better weight?
I'm 139.
139 pounds.
5.
305 pounds. I know she have more than that in her right now. You get me? 2 years non-stop training. Let's go. Same here flip every time. Same here flip every time. Twice. Bam. And then she can do some. Oh, she done. Alright, cool. That's it? Squat down for them. So this is a. Huh? Alright, no problem. She flip already. So this is the low bar squat of somebody with a back half the size of Scott's. Remember Scott's arms are all the way out here? Big back. Your big back means arm space. Her back is big as well, but not as big, so you know she have to bring in the arms a little bit more. So that's good power and drive. Neutral pelvis, staying tall, one again. Perfect. Rock it. Give her a round of applause. Shine, come in. So I keep talking about the IPF standard, but something keep coming up. But I'm going to talk about it for you now. So like we said, the athlete comes onto the stage after their name is called. You have a minute to do the lift. Go ahead. So somebody was competing now. Tell me, what does the judge say? What's the first command?
Start.
Start. And when you get that command, what do you think you should do when you hear start?
Start.
Start.
What?
Say again? Lift already. And then you acknowledge that you're ready, right? Go ahead. So after that start command, there's no other command. Alright, well, come up. Alright, so the next command, you wouldn't do squat like that. The next command would be squat. Very audible, you can't miss it. Squat. There's no up command, right? It just come up. And that trick a lot of people in the first competition. So just rock it again. Rock, yeah. No, we're starting over. So approach the bar, lift already. You acknowledge that you're ready. You do a little nervous head shake. Ready, let's go. Ready to die. Bam. Let's go. That's how it is sometimes. You have to be ready to die. For you. Bam. Bam. Start. Start. Squat. Right, so somebody come out brought a good point to me. In order to show that you're actually ready, you cannot be ready if you're like, 'cause imagine, this is about 500 pounds, right? You have to be able to show that you have control of the weight at all times. So if you unwrap the weight and you're like this, you can't start. You can't do anything. So to present that you're ready to do the lift, your knees have to be locked out, your hips have to be locked out. If for whatever reason you have any medical or anatomical issue, you can declare it before, show them, and you will pass it. But don't do that in competition. Do that before the competition, right? So everything has to be locked out. Ready? Squat. Come up. No, don't pause. Just squat, come up. Squat. Up, hard. Bam. Weight on a rack command. Rack. Right? We're going to do that with somebody that looks more experienced. Come, fast. And then we'll move on. Now is the time to be thinking about the questions that you have for the squat, right? I just want to take 5 questions, the most. Lifter is ready? Bar is loaded. Start. Alright, so me as a judge, I'm looking to see that the knees are fully locked out. There's control of the bar. Squat. Rock. Good lift. 3 right left. Give a round of applause. So questions for squats. Any questions for squat?
You mentioned back position, right?
Yes.
I realized that Scott here, how does he keep the bar on his back? As in like
he is strong.
No. I mean like with a narrow grip.
Yeah.
I feel like I can feel my traps and the shelf is a lot solid.
All right, so that's again strength. Strong muscles are able to go to a range of motion and maintain contraction. So if it is the area of strength in the, you might have strength here, without strength in this portion, which causes tightness. Tightness and pain a lot of times is your body saying, please stop, just stop. There's a cue of where to just stop. But if you, the bodybuilding training, train the upper back, improve your posture, you are able to go into a lot more close and tighter positions. You get me? Strength creates tightness, tightness creates power. You cannot ignore any part of the programming. You get me? What I want you guys to take note of, foot position, back position, bar placement, how the arms are stacked, the type of grip, what's happening with the head. That's what I want you guys to take into consideration right now, right? So foot position, knee position, hip in relation to the shoulder, back, butt, and the ankle and wrist. Typically when you're looking at somebody lift or you're looking at your own mechanics, you always want to look at your joints. The answer is in what is happening at your joints in relation to other joints. Usually. I can explain more. You don't need 2 shoes. So we first want to show them the difference in setup. Scott is like, sure, whatever. You get me? Him do a little something to make him feel like he do something. You get me? Bam. Alright, cool. I'm strong. Nice. Love it. Next one. Let me show you how much effort some people have to put in because they don't have the favorable mechanics and the favorable strength, right? So what we see happening here now, look at what's happening with the foot position, look at what's happening with the amount of emphasis she put into creating an arch, look at her width difference even though she have shorter arms. Go ahead, bench. And I also wanted to look at the difference in the height or the, what's the range of motion of the lift. Thank you. Similar limb lengths, but what is different about Sami? Enough back, right? We're going to say that back can be an advantage. So already because of that back width that she have, the arm position is a lot more natural. It's not as ultra wide as Simona's, relatively, right? I love Sami's bench. Matter of fact, I've been stealing from Sami to make my bench better. You see, everything here is just nice and streamlined. There's no energy bleeding out to the side, like in Scott's bench. No disrespect to Scott. And the upper back is nice and tight and locked in. You get what I'm saying? We're going to make Scott come back.
So utilize the equipment that you have. If you watch me bench, I use the rack to get myself into a tighter position so that I'm on my lats, really able to utilize that power. With Simona and I's bench, you also realize that we're using a lot more of our arch because most women do not have the strongest bench. So life go.
Just less muscle.
Right? Less muscle.
Less to work with.
It's life. So range of motion, that arch, we're trying to lessen it to get that bench up, right? The bigger your bench, the better. Most times, bigger back, bigger bench. So life go too.
Right. So with the bench press has been the bane of my existence for a very long time.
Everyone's.
But I've come to love the bench because I just don't fight it anymore. You get me? You have to work with it. And I realized that you have to bench. I realized the bench is all about making the tiny annoying adjustments. Because bench is really freaky, you know. Bench is transferring horizontal force into vertical force. Does that make sense? I'm gonna explain a little bit more. Because like in the squat, when we set up in the squat, and I mentioned jumping and the foot position that you use to jump to create as much force as possible, right? You're standing, you go down, spring up, right? Bench now, you lie down on your back, right? All force is created from the floor. We don't get force from up in the sky, all force is generated from the floor, right? But because you see if the girl I'm showing up now, I'm gonna put in more effort. You see that? You love to see it. Right, so because now we're generating force from the floor, the force is traveling this way, but our arms aren't horizontal, they're vertical. So we're doing soup, right? So energy must bleed, which is why people have 500-pound squats, 600-pound deadlifts, 200-pound benches. You get me? I basically just talk about myself. So you go. This competition I don't bench something big, probably 225. So right now, squat ego is bruised. It's going to increase force production. Let's go. Bam, bam. Yeah, I can get a leg cramp. Scott, what's the best bench? 410. 410 pounds. How much, by the way? 180? 180. That's really good. That's international competitive. Say again? Well done, man, the different. We're not talking about the best of the best. Nice. No energy is bleeding. Everything is going zoops, zoops. Look at the knees not moving at all. Everything going up the chain. Beautiful. Love to see it. Lightweight. Give her a round of applause. Alright now, so absolute quality. Remember the advertisements for themselves, just 5 cents a day. And feed the show. It still couldn't feed Zaya bench. But with little changes in technique, little changes in positioning and timing, we make the world of difference. I'm going to show you something. Come, set up. Height? Oh, you're them kind of long for you. So again, women tend to be better benchers than men. But of course, you have to think about it in relativity, in terms of technique. So there's a lot of emphasis in paying our dues in getting lat tightness. Yeah. Solid. Quads, even though she's doing an upper body movement. Solid. You get me? No energy wasted. Ready? Show them that same exact movement. Put in the bar here. Put it back here. Where you're supposed to put it. You see the difference in terms of pull? Alright, do me a favor and widen your bench. I'll make your bench more narrow. Yeah, do feel comfortable same way. I want you to look at the range of motion difference here and the stability difference. So remember, we want to look at what's happening at the joints. Where's there being wastage? You see the knees start to shake and thing? Alright, use a regular grip again. Regular grip where she's able to use her lats to get them tight and squeeze her body down. Look if there's any wastage happening. Clean, tidy. You get what I'm saying? Bench is a game of millimeters and not patience and depression. But we can get through it. We can get through it.
225.
So we're looking again on what is happening, right? So you can see that most people, however they can, of course, the taller lifter is going to go further back on the bench, but we're paying our dues in getting that upper back tightness. Really and truly what you want to think about doing is squeezing your shoulder blades together as hard as you can, just like the squats, squeezing your lats, getting that perfect spot on the chest to create as much force as you can, pushing through the legs, driving up and back. Now Jeremy, you remember what I was talking about earlier, what I was saying, converting horizontal force into vertical force? There's nobody better at doing that on this rock, on this island, than Jeremy. Give me a round of applause. No warm up, no stretch. 225 pounds, really. This is the equivalent of you picking up a fork to eat. Or taking a pillow off your chest. So what I want you guys to do is to look at what is happening with his legs. As he presses, the amount of drive that's happening. Watch this. Again, paying dues, getting that back tightness. You saw the plate, the weight kind of go back. That's the horizontal force going back. And as we can see, bigger back, better bench, more stability, more meat to press off of. Make it stop him, make it stop him, make it stop him. Alright. Yeah man, you go, you can wake up. You go. Alright, cool. Put on next plate for Scott. Alright, 25. Huh? Put on another plate for Scott. 315 for Scott. Put on a 25, 365, please. Sorry, 275. Sorry. I'm not taking for okay. That's okay. Yeah, lift it. Can you demonstrate a deadlift? Respect. You see that drive? Alright, put on a plate, we're going to stop at 315. So I was talking about equipment earlier for the bench press. What type of equipment are you thinking about for the bench? Which ones, why? Wrists are weak. Wrists aren't necessarily weak, but wrists are very good at going in different directions. They can do everything that an athlete can do more or less. But in a bench you want everything to go forward. You don't want any wasted energy, right? Similar to the squat, we're paying our dues, setting up with twisting the feet into the ground as much as possible. And we're still thinking about creating as much tightness in the back as possible. We're still thinking about having a neutral spine happening, right? Go ahead. And if you see what's happening with our hips, if you could imagine like a rope around her hip, somebody's pulling on the hip and she's pushing it. You see that? So we're not deadlifting with our back. Deadlifting is not done with your back. Deadlifting is done with your legs, right? Supported and stabilized by the back. The back is not where the engine of power comes from. That's the glutes. Right? Conventional deadlift is a narrow foot stance, right? Sumo deadlift. Sorry, how is the finisher? Narrow foot stance, the arms are usually outside the leg. Sumo is usually, I wouldn't even say sumo is wider per se because you have conventional deadlifters with wider stances, but the arms are definitely inside the legs. Because I've seen conventional pullers with this stance. They're usually 300 pounds. Here what we see happening is the same thing we're even say all day. We're paying our dues, we're creating as much torque, rotation happening in the foot. One cord split into the ground as much as we can, right? I like to imagine myself being on a towel and I'm spreading that towel so thin that it's starting to tear, right? We're paying our dues, creating as much tightness as possible in the quads. Get down, reach. We're paying our dues with upper back tightness and getting those lats nice and tight. I like to give the cue of, relax a little bit, you know this hard, alright? Go on again. I like to give my athletes the cue of squeezing the shoulder down towards the hip, keeping that trunk nice and stiff. I'm going hold on, go down again. I'm going to slap her for some sounds. That's the sound before tightening up. Hear this now.
Hear that?
Flat, flat, flat as opposed to push, push, push. Right? Go on again. So actually pull, yeah. Excellent. Alright, so this is the biggest conventional pull-up in Jamaica, right?
Conventional and it's actually both.
Huh?
It's actually both, Sam. It's based
Sumo?
and sumo. No.
This is the biggest deadlifter in the island, eh? Granted, I'm traveling. People, I'm just a humble man, you know, just you get me. Excellent. Wow. People, that's crazy. That's insane. You're strong as hell. Well, on, come back. This side way. Let me show them something. I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show you guys something. I'm going to show you why Scott freakishly strong, right? And this can come back to your question. So, some mechanics. Yeah, but we can't bother that one. So, in the sumo, I will see it better when I set up for my conventional, but in the sumo there's greater emphasis in upper back strength as well as quadriceps strength or hip flexion strength. If you were here earlier, you remember that hip flexor strength is this right here, the ability to get into this position and hold it. Right? So we start in this position with a lot more what we call knee flexion, which is just the knee bending, and hip flexion, which is just the hip getting smaller. Right? So we literally start the position in like a squat. Forward. Alright, cool. Let's roll it forward. What the best thing? What do I think for that? Yeah. Scott has an abnormally strong neck. So Scott can do a lot more with his head. Yeah. The reason why we should keep your chin down is because your chin going up activates neck extensors. If the neck extensors are activated, the spinal extensors are activated. Scott's neck is solid, so the head can manipulate on top of the strong neck extensor. That makes sense? But really and truly, if you was to use a more neutral head position, it would help, but you do it around it. A lot of times it's just what makes the lifter a lot more relaxed. A relaxed lifter lifts a lot more. So do that one more time. Right, so for the sumo there's a lot more emphasis in the upper back strength, quad strength, as well as, what else? Adductors, of course, right? And mobility. Because if the hips aren't able to open that wide and actually get into position, it just can't happen, right? So I'm going to be showing you the conventional lift from side mechanics.
Alright, yeah, so you can see the obvious difference is that his legs are closer together, right? His grip is outside his lower limbs, right? He obviously has to bend over more or hinge more at the hip than I did. Alright? He also has to pull the bar a lot farther than I do. So
Slow motion?
Yeah.
let's go, come on. That's right, that's right, that's right. Right? So he has a longer way to pull the bar, which can be non-advantageous, right? Sumo, you pull the bar a shorter range. That by no means it's easier, it's just a shorter range, right? Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Alright, so let's set up. So before we even get into Scott's setup, right? I just want you guys to look at the anatomy of Scott, right? Looking at Scott, what is it that, face them front on first, what is it that you see that is different about Scott? Very long arms. Besides that? Short torso. What else? Let's be productive, please. Let's do that. Let's just try to do that. What else? Long femurs. What else? Looking at upper body. What muscles are particularly developed? Traps. What else? And you know what none of you are going to look at? You see how big that neck is? Very, very, very important for sumo. If your neck can stabilize your head is going to change the position of your spine, right? We're going to make Scott set up for sumo again. I want you to look at how tight this man back gets. Go on. And I want you to look at what's happening at the neck. These are the small things that can prevent somebody from going astronomical numbers. Look at that. I can hide my thumb in there. Pause. Pause. You understand? Go on, lift. Slide rolling at the back, but that's fine. Slide rolling in the upper back is the shoulder blades that are a little bit relaxed. When you have lats that strong, lats that big, small differences. You get me? It also allows for a cheat because it reduces the amount of range. If you can cheat legally, cheat. Right, but you see, because I don't have that back advantage as Scott, I have to cheat in other ways. How I cheat? Glutes. Right? Not to make you feel weird, but Scott have no ass. Right? So that does make laterals and extension a little bit harder. I just drive a little bit more through the hips. So make Scott do this again. So look how Scott uses his upper back to his advantage. Watch how I use my hip drive and quads to my advantage. So already you can see that with Scott set up, the upper back is a lot more rounded, right? A rounded back actually allows for more lat engagement, really and truly. It does, right? There's less driving the hips. Go on again, do two more. More emphasis on keeping this lat team. Alright, watch me go again. Go on. Can I go?
Alright, so the first thing he does is he makes contact with the ground as tight as possible. So he's not loosely standing on the floor like this.
Alright, just I feel my glutes twitch.
Alright, and he does that because he's pressing his feet out. If you look at my shoes, you see he go like this. That's because I'm turning my ankles outward against the floor to create torque, as Mark was talking about, right? Once you do that, you're going to feel the glutes turn on. If you, let me not. But once you do that, your glutes will turn on, and that will put tension in the entire posterior chain, so you have a stable place to lift from, right? That's what you do. No go. Okay, so as Mark was saying, if you look at him, if you look here, it's like him putting his scapulas back and trying to put them in his back pocket, which is important for some, right? In general, that's important. That's important. It will make you a stronger lifter. But if you're routinely round the scapulas and you feel strong like that, then
Go ahead.
you go ahead, right? As long as you're not getting injured, you go ahead, you do your thing. If you notice, the deadlift grip is important in the deadlift. Many people deadlift these days with wrist straps, right? And they have a roll, right? In training, you can train with the wrist straps, but the IPF don't allow wrist straps, right? Those are the things that you wrap around the wrist and then you wrap around the bar and it gives you a hold on the bar. So if you notice everybody, I'm not sure. What kind of grip you use? So she use a mixed grip. Mixed grip just means of course, come on, that's my grip, right? So go. right? So she uses a mixed grip, right? Which is one hand over, one hand under. The reason why she does that is because when you have both hands, use a double over. When you have both hands like that, there's a tendency for the bar to roll forward. If the bar rolls forward, you're going to roll out your hand. If the bar rolls out your hand, you can't lift the bar, right? So you want to keep the bar in your hand by using a mixed grip. Mixed grip, Sammy? So the bar have a tendency to roll forward and backwards, no net roll, and so you tend to feel stronger like that. But that comes with its own set of problems. I don't use it. You can train it and you'll get better. Anything you train, you'll get better at doing it. So that's how Sammy does it. Mark, I don't remember. Double overhand?
Yeah. A complete mix.
Complete mix. Most people use a mixed grip, right? Most people, I don't know, Simona? Mixed grip, right? And they use a mixed grip and along with... Hook grip is for the elites. Joke, it's not
Hook grip is for people that choose to use it.
Hook grip, right? Is that thing where... Yeah, so it's a form of using the double overhand grip. Alright. So we go so boom. Go so boom and you use a double overhand. Or you use a mix. Sometimes you have the tendency to want to move the bar this way. Obviously, as any movement of the bar that's not vertical is waste of energy. Right? So you don't want the bar to move this way at any point in time. So I can't really do this kind of grip because that always happens. And then my hands rub on my quads because they're large. Right? My hands will rub on my quads, so I don't do that. Right? So hook grip. So to see this side, hook grip, you put the thumb here and you put your curly fingers over the thumb, right? So you do this in the reverse. I just do like that because you can't see. So you put your thumb here and your curly fingers over the thumb. That hurts, right? Because the bar is going to roll on your thumb and the thumbs will stop it from moving. So as you can imagine, if you have 700 pounds on the bar and it's rolling on your thumb, it's gonna hurt, right? And there's no way around that. So if you go with hook grip and you look about how to do it and you say, oh, you're not gonna do it because it hurt, there's no way around, it's gonna hurt. You can tape it, it's gonna hurt, right? Importantly, as Kamal was saying, chalk is a thing that powerlifters use, right? So that assists every type of grip. Double overhand, hook, everything. Chalk will allow you to hold on to the bar much better, a lot much better than you think it might. Some people actually put chalk on their knees. Don't do that, right? Don't chalk your shins.
The exact opposite way on the
right? Because chalk creates friction, so don't put chalk on
so
your
put
shins.
powder on the body,
if you see persons with white stuff on them anterior surface,
that's baby powder.
The white stuff is powder, so it can be smooth. And that's okay, that's allowed. Right? That's a thing that's allowed. Grip. Yeah, that's it for grip. So just choose your grip and train it. Any grip you choose and train it will get better.
Big up, Scott. Strongest deadlift in Ireland, 700 pounds on the bar, 750 pounds on the bar. 750 pounds on the bar. That's not easy, people. This is hard work. Say again? His weight class is, I don't know because I'm still a lot of things just to get to my head.
It's 83 kgs, right? That's 183 pounds, but I'm really light right now, right? So compare well with 74 kgs, who knows, I don't know.
I don't care. Cesare, people. Cesare recently started powerlifting. She's been powerlifting right now for, I think, 1 year consistently. COVID kind of slow things down. That's really actually put the force into the middle of the foot as if you're jumping, right? You're jumping, you want to jump through your heels, you want to jump through your toes, you jump to the middle of your foot to create the most power, right? So the bar is set over the middle of the foot, and as you do that, you don't have to worry about shin anymore. Because eventually, as you go down into position, your shin should be to the bar. Yeah? The next thing now that we're focusing on, stay down there, Zari. What is the next thing that we're focusing on in the deadlift? Lats. But that's really and truly not the next thing. That is the next chronological thing. Hips, right? Because again, if you're studying lifts, the best way to study a lift is what? To look at what? The best way to study a lift is to look at what? Everybody over here quiet. The best way to study a lift is to look at what? To look at what? The joints. What's happening at the joints, right? So the major joints that we can acknowledge here is what? The ankle, the what?
Hip.
The what?
Hip.
Oh, they're too cool for me. The ankle, the what? And the what? The shoulder, the what? And the right. So after we think about the ankles, then we have to think about the hips. What are we doing with the hips and the deadlift? Pulling them back, so we're thinking about hinging them back as much as we can. Right? So come up again. Usually, and this is something that I realize. I'm thinking about my hip hinge from my belly button. If you think about your hip hinge from your belly button, you won't get the most neutral, stabilized spine. You literally have to think about your hip bone, where your hip actually inserts. And you're thinking about somebody poking that with a stick, pushing that back, right? I can never understand how girls come into the gym and have no idea how to hip hinge. I see you in the parties. I see you on the YouTubes. You do that easily. But when you do it for yourself, you can't do it. I think you do. So ready, we're doing a hip hinge, nice deep hip hinge. So if bench, you pay your dues with back tightness. With the deadlift, the cleaner and tighter that hinge, the cleaner the deadlift, right? So what we're looking for in our perfect hinge, we're looking for knee angle that's fairly straight. We're looking for a flat neutral back. And then to get even a tighter hinge and keep everything more stable, what do we tighten? Lats. Ready for your sound test? That can tighter. Come, ready again. Lats. Right? Lift more, ready? So you pop up the hip. That's what you call straight. That's what you call four. Right? Next up lead. Going to bed at night, thinking about that deadlift, going to bed thinking, how can I get that cleaner hinge? Going to bed thinking, how can I get more hip drive? Sami has more time with these questions. Sami has more time to experiment. So she's going to lift better. You get me? Always compare yourself with somebody of similar experience. This is chilling program. Ready? So right, so we have a lot more relaxing approach. Yeah, man. There's a lot more relaxing approach, and you can see that Sami's deadlift is a lot more what? Set up again. What is different? Tighter. She's tighter. Stop it. Stop it. This is a production from the school. So I want you guys to look at, remember, you know, we said that when you pay your dues for the deadlift to get more return on your investment, ankles tight, make sure, tight, you see when you make it flow. You see when you pay your dues, you get enough money in your bank. You understand? Come back. So Zaire, of course, has less time to think about it, less experience, less practice, less time than lifting. So you're going to see that Zaire, even though she has a very tight shape, her ability to create more tension in shape is limited because of the time draining. Time makes it better powerlifting. Nobody does powerlifting for more time and becomes worse. That does not exist. If you want to be better, stick to it. Experiment. Ready? So nice compact shape, but because without that back mass, without that forearm strength, without that glute strength, without that hamstring strength as much, we can't get that triangle tight. Come, go on again. That's the tightest triangle we can get here, right? Come in again. Come in again, Sami. We'll still see you float off the ground, right? Just not as effortlessly. So I'm more experienced lifter now. Tight shape, right? Tighter back, stronger back, and she's able to do this for a much longer time because the muscles are conditioned better, right? Come here.
Alright, so for example, 135 that shouldn't, but the amount I lift should be nothing, right? But the same way you see me lift 135 is the exact same way I lift 225, 315. If I cannot lift 135 like this, my deadlift is right. It doesn't make any sense to go higher and not have dynamics in place because the heavier the weight gets on the bar, the more these things matter, right? So if you can't do this
so the same thing that we spoke about in the bench and the squat, mentality. Don't approach that empty bar thinking, alright, it's an empty bar, so whatever. The empty bar have a billion function at all times, right? Think of powerlifting really and truly as a fight or flight response. Do not ever fly. Always fly. Right? If you fly, that's you get broken wings. Yeah. That was good, right? That was decent, right? I like it though. So let's go now. Set up feet again. Start from standing. Alright, so again, what's happening here? The bar is over the midfoot. When you're outside in the sun, it's perfect because you can actually see the shadow created on the foot, right? She's reaching down to the bar now. Right? Yeah, ready? Alright. Then lift 3 more times. 1. I want you to think about everything that's happening right now, people. 1, 2, last 1, 3. Zari, come back please. Give her a round of applause, please. That was really good. So how much years do you have lifting from there? There. Not a year yet. Zari, so not a year yet. 4 months. So that's excellent. You want another round of applause. That's excellent. 4 months of work. Zari has been lifting purposefully for more than 2 years. 2 years. Sami for 3. Right? I want to look at the difference again in the different types of deadlifts. Like how somebody looks strong as a deadlift, right? Now, listen to this deadlift. Press that down. You realize how much things happening in that deadlift kind of sound like Christmas? That's different stages that she's investing into a little bit more. So initially she's creating a lot more back tightness and tension, so she's getting rid of that, the slack out of the bar, and then she's driving her hips purposefully, and you hear it pop off the hip a little bit more, right? My friend, come back here. Remember your name? Daniel. Deadlift again. So this is what when you don't pay as much dues in the setup now. Oh, she fixed it. She fixed it. She didn't tighten her shoulders before, she tightened them now. You get me? And this is why it's important to train people better than you, stronger than you. Give her a round of applause. She's sitting and you implement them. Alright, so you see that? You see that setup? Is that good? Go back again. Do that again. You see that? Mindset. This is 225 pounds. But look at the mindset that this man approaching this with, like his life or death. Twisting the feet into the ground, thinking about his cues. Ready, give some silence. Oh, that's nice. But there's something not nice about it. Go on again. He paying off him debts, but him now go to the bank and collect him deposit. He put in all that work, only say a half the back out. I don't get it. Ready again. Stronger back out. Yeah, laughing again. Come on, serious time. You have demonstrated right now. Let's go. Alright, so we see that back side is playing those goals. Alright, so you see what I'm happening here now? What I'm happening here is why is it that it's important to go through again the phases of training, right? Scott, come here, please. Do our convention for this. I want you guys to focus particularly at the lockout. Do that one more time. Do this motion. Do that like 5 frames per second. Yes, yes, yes. Alright. You see this muscle twitching here? You see this muscle twitching right here? You see these muscles up here? I'm going to talk about it. Put that down. Come, lift again. Take off your shirt.
What is that? Come on.
Okay. I have to try. I have to try. Huh? Where's that? I have to try. Not confused. Alright. Alright, cool. So we're seeing how many on the top of the back, different construct with this guy. Start to stand to extend. Because his upper back is not able to properly extend, you have to find an extension to here. But this gives you less reps in your lifetime than this. So yeah, it might deadlift 1,000 pounds, but for hold. Understand what I'm saying? So absolutely not. Judges usually look for hips and knees. The upper back is not really a problem, right? But what can happen now to improve his deadlift? Because a stronger lockout here means that this is a stronger locking out, which produces more strength and power, right? So what you would have to do is do a lot more work in this portion of the body. All right, now, so what are we seeing different in this bodybuilding deadlift setup? Because this is a classic bodybuilding deadlift. I love it. What's different about this deadlift compared to a powerlifter setup? What's happening? It looks like more ideal. Why is it that?
Because his setup is like him just lifting it up, same can go so.
Right. What else is happening? It looks like a squat as opposed to a hinge. Scott, come back. Fast, come. Alright, so reach down to the bar. So when we're deadlifting, we're always thinking about making a tight triangular shape, right? Easiest way to make that is to put your chest or your nipple line. I hope people are sensitive about that, right? You want to put your nipple line over the bar. That's the easiest way to get that tight triangular shape. Put your nipple line behind the bar. And can't even do that, right? Let me try. Right, lift like that. Lift like that as hard as you can. Yuck. Disgusting, right? Do the right way. I want to hear, ooh, tight. Do one more time. Make more sounds. Christmas. Ready again. Okay. Come in. Let's see your deadlift setup. Come in. Right. Right. Right.
Compared to most bodybuilders I do.
Right.
Outside.
Right.
Yeah, put the phone on.
The simple reason why that happens for most bodybuilders is because of some more back engagement, and they tend to have very large backs. Scott made a really good point that people tend to be obsessed with keeping their hips very low in a deadlift position, right? Your hip needs to be where your hip needs to be in a deadlift, right? Hold on to the mic.
So like for me, if I start in a deadlift, I'm starting from here. Earlier in my career, I used to start it from here to feel like I'm doing something, but this is where that's where I need to be to create power.
This won't happen when you start
is,
like that. Your hips still have to come up from that squat position. So he goes like this, right? Boom, right? Versus a powerlifter who knows that the power is in your hinge, right? So there's no need for me to go into a squat because guess what? I have to come up anyways, right?
So that's basically just deleting work that's not necessary. You get me? Cheat if you can cheat. Ready? So we're going to do a powerlifting deadlift now. Alright? So we're going to think less about bending the knees, more about the chest going over the bar, more upper back tightness. Pull your shoulders down into your hips. Lift up to your chest like you want to smile for a passport picture.
Cute
Alright, lift now. Smooth, tight, clean. Give her a round of applause. Come up again. And maintain the upper back tightness. Hold in that position. Hold that for as long as you can. I'm going to feel more and more muscles start activating up the chain. This is how we get them stronger. We actually need them to work. Right? And come up. Come up now. Alright? What's the biggest past deadlift?
700 pounds for 3, alright? 700 for 3, pause.
Alright, 700 pounds for 3. Give me a round of applause.
Yeah, chalk is important, it's vital. Yes, chalk is legal, it's very legal stuff. Hold on then. Oh yeah. So just rubbing. Don't always have chalk, you have various forms of chalk, you have regular chalk that's powdery and it will mess up the place, and you have liquid chalk as I just gave Mark. You can't wait till it dries still. It'll come on, man. Alright, you need it. Very strong.
So if you remember Scott's setup, Scott's head was here. Right? Why? Longer arms. Freakishly long arms. Right?
My hips were also higher.
His hips were also higher?
So if you notice the distance between her knees and her hands, it's crazy. I can touch my knees with my hands standing straight. Yeah?
So tell us a lot
So I
more
don't have to
upright.
go down as much, I start from here.
Right. You get me? This is how leverages can help to give you a head start to becoming stronger. Right? Alright, so I'm going to go ahead.
So the hips want to do this when you're deadlifting, when you're squatting, whatever, right? The glutes are strongest doing this. So at the top of right here, at the top right of these glutes, maximum contraction. Squats, deadlifts, whatever else you're doing in the gym won't get you that. Right? Hip thrusts are slightly better than glute bridges, but yeah. If you want to improve that, the ability to extend your hips with a lot of weight, glute bridges and hip thrusts with, you know, a lot of weight.
Everybody give Alex a round of applause. Right? People like to have this morbid way of cueing a base by tensing your stomach for a punch, but 90% of us here has never been punched in the stomach, right? The easiest way to keep your abs tight is to just feel for everything to be really rigid and heavy. Stand up. Everybody stand. Quick, we're leaving 4 o'clock. We're leaving in 5 minutes. So, one hand on the chest. Quick, we're leaving in 4 or 5. One hand on the chest, one hand on the stomach. I want everybody to breathe into the belly 10 times without moving your chest at all. Your chest is not going to save your life. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Breathe into the belly, keeping that chest as still as you can. And of course, we cannot... Why is there so much talking? Sorry about that. And with a brace, of course, we cannot brace with a head position that is down, because that is going to cause what? The lower back to do the same thing. The only way to brace is in perfect posture. Head start over the shoulders, shoulders start over the hip start over the ankles. That's the only way that you can brace your core properly. So keep that chest nice and tall. We're giving 10 breaths into the belly. I should be seeing big bloated bellies. Up here, put your hand up here by the diaphragm. Right? That's where the strongest muscles are. Now give me 10 deep breaths. Ready?